Malcolm Little, later known as Malcolm X, was born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1925. His birth marked the beginning of a life that would be filled with both extraordinary challenges and remarkable achievements. His childhood was marred by racism and tragedy, experiences that would leave an indelible mark on his psyche. His family faced constant threats and harassment from white supremacist groups, making their lives a daily struggle for survival. The Ku Klux Klan burned down their house when Malcolm was just a young boy, a traumatic event that would haunt him for years. These early experiences with racism shaped Malcolm's worldview and fueled his desire for justice and equality.
Despite a difficult upbringing, I excelled in school, showing a natural aptitude for learning. I was a bright and inquisitive student, always eager to learn and understand more about the world. But I faced constant discrimination from my teachers and classmates who saw me as less than them because of my race. This prejudice led me to drop out of school at a young age, feeling disillusioned and unsupported.
Malcolm moved to Boston to live with his half-sister, hoping for a fresh start in a new city. He took on various jobs but struggled to find his place in a society that seemed determined to keep him down no matter how hard he tried. Malcolm's search for identity and purpose led him down a troubled path as he grappled with the harsh realities of his environment. He became involved in criminal activities, seeking a way to survive and make sense of his circumstances. Petty theft and drug dealing became a way of life as he navigated the dangerous streets of Boston. Malcolm's experiences on the streets exposed him to the harsh realities of poverty, crime, and racial inequality, deepening his understanding of the systemic issues facing African Americans. Malcolm's early life was a story of resilience in the face of adversity, a testament to his unyielding spirit. It was during this period of his life that he began to question the world around him, seeking answers to the injustices he witnessed daily. He yearned for something more, a sense of belonging and purpose that seemed elusive, driving him to search for deeper meaning in his life. Malcolm's life took a turn for the worse when he was arrested for burglary in 1946. At the age of 20, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. This marked a turning point in Malcolm's life, for it was behind bars that he would undergo a profound transformation.
Prison life was harsh and unforgiving. Malcolm witnessed firsthand the brutality of the American penal system. He also saw the deep-seated racism that permeated every aspect of prison life. But it was within this oppressive environment that Malcolm found a glimmer of hope. I introduced him to the teachings of the Nation of Islam. This encounter would change the course of Malcolm's life forever.
The NOI's message of black empowerment and self-reliance resonated deeply with Malcolm, who had always felt like an outsider in white America. He began reading voraciously, devouring books on history, philosophy, and religion. Malcolm's thirst for knowledge was insatiable. He immersed himself in the teachings of the NOI, embracing its message of black pride and self-determination. The Nation of Islam, often referred to as the NOI, emerged in the 1930s during a period of intense racial segregation and discrimination in America. This was a time when black Americans faced systemic oppression and were denied basic human rights. It offered a message of hope and empowerment to black people who were struggling to survive in a society that treated them as second-class citizens. The NOI provided a sense of community and belonging, which was desperately needed during those harsh times.
The NOI's teachings were rooted in the belief that black people were the original people of the earth, a concept that instilled pride and a sense of identity among its followers. It taught that white people were a race of devils created by a scientist named Yaqub. This narrative was intended to counteract the pervasive negative stereotypes about black people. This doctrine of racial separation was controversial, but it appealed to many black Americans who were tired of being oppressed by white society. The idea of self-determination and autonomy was particularly attractive.
The NOI emphasized black self-reliance and economic independence. It encouraged its members to build their own institutions and support black-owned businesses. It encouraged its followers to start their own businesses, educate their children, and create a strong, self-sufficient community, and reject the values of white America. This rejection was not just about economic independence, but also about cultural and spiritual autonomy. This message of self-sufficiency resonated with Malcolm, who had always been a fiercely independent thinker. He found in the NOI a philosophy that matched his own desire for freedom and justice. Malcolm's conversion to the NOI was a transformative experience. It marked the beginning of his journey as a prominent leader and activist. He abandoned his former life of crime and embraced the strict moral code of the NOI. He gave up smoking, drinking, gambling, and eating pork. This transformation was not just physical but also mental and spiritual. He adopted the name Malcolm X, renouncing his slave name given to him by white slave owners. This new identity symbolized his break from the past and his commitment to the principles of the NOI. Malcolm's time in prison was a period of intense intellectual and spiritual growth. It was here that he began to truly understand the power of knowledge and its potential to transform lives. He embraced the teachings of the NOI with fervor, finding solace and direction in their message. Seeing in them a path to redemption and liberation, he immersed himself in their doctrines. He became a model prisoner, dedicating himself to self-improvement and rigorous study. His commitment extended to the betterment of his fellow inmates, whom he inspired to seek their own paths of growth.
Malcolm's charisma and intelligence drew others to him, making him a natural leader. He became a powerful speaker, known for his ability to articulate complex ideas with clarity and passion. Captivating audiences with his fiery rhetoric, he spoke from the heart. His insightful critiques of racism and social injustice resonated deeply with those who heard him. Other inmates looked up to him as a mentor and guide, seeing in him a beacon of hope. He taught us about Black history, challenged our beliefs, and opened our eyes to new perspectives. Encouraging us to embrace education as a tool for liberation, he showed us the way forward.
His letters to family and friends during this time reflected his evolving worldview, filled with new insights and reflections. They were filled with passionate arguments against racism, urging others to join the fight for justice. Reflections on his newfound faith were also prominent, showcasing his spiritual journey, and calls for Black empowerment echoed through his words, inspiring many. His words resonated with those who felt marginalized and oppressed, giving them a voice. He gave voice to their anger and frustration, channeling it into a powerful movement. Malcolm's transformation in prison was a testament to the power of ideas to inspire change, showing that even in the darkest places, growth is possible. He emerged from prison a new man, with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Ready to dedicate his life to the struggle for Black liberation, he took on the mantle of leadership. He had found his purpose and nothing would deter him from his mission, and he would not be silenced, for his voice had become a powerful force for change.